All right, so today we're going to dive into something pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's about Haiphong in Vietnam.
Okay.
And we've got some sources here about how it's quickly becoming like a manufacturing hub.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're going to look at kind of what's driving all that growth and also, what could happen.
Right.
If the U.S. decides to get more protectionist with its trade policies and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. So for you listeners out there, I think this will be really interesting for you because, we've talked before about how global economics can shift and change.
For sure.
And then that affects specific places like this.
Absolutely.
So we've got a bunch of information here, like I was saying, and we're going to kind of try to break it down.
Gotcha.
And make it make sense. You know what I mean?
Yes, definitely.
So what's the first thing that jumps out at you here?
Well, just how quickly everything's changing over there. Since 2018, it's been nonstop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it seems like they realized, hey, we're right next to the South China Sea.
Right.
And Shenzhen's right there.
Oh, yeah.
So they've been pouring money into infrastructure.
So what kind of stuff are we talking? Roads and bridges?
Exactly. Like a brand new deep water port.
Wow.
And a high-speed expressway that goes straight to Shenzhen.
So, that must make it way easier to ship stuff directly to the U.S.
Totally. It's a total game changer for exporters.
I bet. And then that probably makes it super attractive for companies to come in and set up shop.
You got it. Like LG Electronics, Pegatron, Foxconn.
Oh, wow. Those are some big names.
Yeah. They all started moving some of their production out of China.
Because of the tariffs.
I think that was a big part of it, for sure.
That makes sense.
And Vietnam, especially Haiphong, was just ready and waiting.
So they're capitalizing on all this.
Yeah, big time. And these industrial parks that they're building are insane.
What are they like?
So there's this developer called Deep Sea, and they're basically taking these old fishing villages and turning them into these massive industrial zones.
Wow. How many companies are we talking?
They've already attracted over 170.
Jeez.
It's crazy how fast it's all happening.
And I bet their economy is just booming because of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mm.
In 2019, their GDP jumped by 17%.
That's 17. That's huge.
Yeah, that's way higher than the national average for Vietnam.
So basically, they're becoming a major player in global trade.
Exactly.
Mm.
And their trade surplus with the U.S. has just skyrocketed.
Really? How much?
They went from 6th to 3rd in just a few years.
Wow, so they're even ahead of Germany now.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
But I guess some people are wondering if it's all legit,
Right. There are some analysts who are raising some eyebrows.
What are they saying?
Well, they're noticing that the more Vietnam exports to the U.S., the more they seem to be importing from China.
So it's possible that some of those goods are just being rerouted through Vietnam.
Exactly. It could be a way to get around those tariffs.
Yeah, that's kind of sneaky. All that uncertainty is probably making investors nervous.
For sure. But on the other hand, Vietnam's got some other tricks up its sleeve.
Oh, yeah, like what?
Well, they're not putting all their eggs in one basket. They've got these free trade agreements with 25 other countries.
So they've got options if things go south with the U.S.
Exactly. And they're not slowing down on the infrastructure either.
What are they building now?
They're adding 6 new berths at Haiphong's port.
6? That's a lot.
Yeah, and there's this massive railway project in the works, too.
Who's funding that?
China's backing it.
Interesting. So it seems like they're really committed to becoming a major trade hub no matter what happens.
Exactly. They're thinking long term.
So just to sum up, Haiphong's seen this insane growth because of its location and all the investment it's attracting.
Right, but they are kind of vulnerable to these shifts in U.S. trade policy.
Especially with all this talk about tariff circumvention.
Yeah, but they're also trying to diversify and build up their infrastructure.
Right, so they're not completely at the mercy of the U.S.
Exactly.
So for everyone listening, think about this. What does this all tell us about global supply chains?
Yeah, how vulnerable are they to political and economic changes?
It's a good question to think about. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Definitely.
Okay, see you next time.
See you now.